Hello, I'm Stephen Brown of FM Adviso, and welcome to today's webinar, Pandemic Response, Next Steps for Facility Managers, sponsored by ProFM Institute. The ProFM credential was designed to elevate the knowledge and skills of facility professionals around the world, and the ProFM Institute is pleased to share this presentation. FM Adviso is a facility management consulting and training business that supports global clients. I appreciate this opportunity to share information about facility management involvements in the challenging environment we face. A PDF copy of the PowerPoint, as well as other resources, are available to those who contact ProFM or FM Adviso. Contact information will be displayed on the last slides. The COVID-19 pandemic continues its relentless pace with devastating impacts. More information has come available, more information sharing is warranted, and FM Adviso and ProFM Institute agreed to offer additional resources with this second webinar. We appreciate your viewing and hope you find the contents worthwhile. For some background, I hold a number of FM-related credentials, among them the ProFM and both the Certified and Master certifications as Business Continuity Professional. My FM experience has been both diverse and global in support of corporate, academic, and production facilities, and I'm authorized by a number of organizations to provide instruction for knowledge and credentials training. So let's start with a bit of context. Every person can play a role to reduce the transmission of the coronavirus, COVID-19. Rigorous hand washing for at least 20 seconds. Staying isolated when you are ill. Disinfecting surfaces that may contain the virus. And maintaining a prescribed distance from other persons. These 4 actions have a significant impact to reduce the spread. The information I will share in this presentation will further help diminish the risks. The agenda today includes information about data and statistics, some action items for facility managers. We'll talk about lessons learned and then a wrap-up. I will close by sharing some excellent resources, and again, other resources are available if you contact FM Adviso, and we are also available for advisory services. Because data on confirmed cases and disposition is changing at such a rapid pace, I decided not to display them. Instead, the resource page at the end of the presentation will provide you a link to the current accurate information. When I prepared and recorded the first webinar, it was still early times in the spread of COVID-19. But since then, the social distancing strategy quickly transitioned to mandated closures and work from home. Travel warnings were issued, and then borders were closed. The World Health Organization reports the number of confirmed cases globally has increased from 234,000 on the 20th of March to 1.04 million on the 3rd of April. The Centers for Disease Control report that in the United States, the numbers increased from 18,000 to 245,000 during that same period. You should only rely on legitimate sources of information to drive your decisions and actions. The World Health Organization, the National Health Services for your country, the CDC, and the ministries, regional and local health departments are best qualified to provide the facts and recommendations. The rapid change of pace has delivered a new challenge for facilities and FM support. For example, the Dade County Public Schools have around 400 sites and serve 355,000 students. Their business continuity plan included providing students with laptops or tablets if their school was damaged and could not be occupied after a disaster like a hurricane. But COVID-19 resulted in the 100% closure of schools and resulted in an immediate demand for 50,000 devices to be purchased, programmed, and then distributed by the 17th of March. Another 130,000 devices were made available by the 20th of March for those students who did not otherwise have access. Consider the logistics in training and facility support to distribute 200,000 devices. It was an immediate and an enormous task. The large number of businesses that have closed had little notice. Many facility managers did not have a procedure or a checklist to guide them for a rapid wholesale closure. Quick actions were taken, and perhaps they were incomplete. So the first suggestion I'm going to share is to revisit those actions taken. This can be accomplished by convening the managers and supervisors by a conference or video call. Review in detail what was done, identify what may not have been completed, and create an action list. Coordinate the response and consider every aspect of your facility. Were the building automation systems changed for unoccupied settings? You may need to increase airflows above minimum requirements for a long-term vacancy. The World Health Organization is recommending a relative humidity between 40 and 60% to reduce virus viability, so adjust to meet that setting. Where possible, open interior doors if it's appropriate, to ensure adequate airflows are circulating and to enhance inspections. Of course, remember some are fire doors or have other requirements to remain closed and secured. Is mail and parcels being collected and handled safely? The virus remains a threat for some hours. On paper and corrugated, it can last a day or more. Organize and sort the mail and parcels so you can notify recipients and facilitate a safe means of review or distribution. Were foodstuffs removed? Were automatic coffee brewers shut down? Were break room and office appliances powered down? We can reduce power consumption and we can reduce heat sources that, if unattended for longer periods, could cause a fire. Consider security patrols. Unoccupied space can be an invitation for persons of bad intent. Crime rarely takes a holiday. So incorporate interior and exterior patrols. Close public access to parking lots and driveways to the extent possible. And inspect fire and emergency exits for potential vulnerability. Confirm site and entry security lights are operating as intended. Working with the IT department, verify your network security is intact. Building technologies can be a vulnerable access point. Add or expand facility watches. Schedule full site walkthroughs to look for faults such as water leaks. A faulty toilet can cost dearly if water is just running to waste. And with the changing seasons, some areas will be subject to severe weather or late season snows. Inspections are valuable to minimize resultant damages. Verify systems are operating as desired and have not been compromised. So review your alarm and alert reports and continue system tests. Unoccupied spaces can facilitate increased vermin and insect activity, even foul odors. Did someone leave an open bag of cookies or a piece of fruit in their desk? Check it out. Your facility management teams will identify other pertinent considerations for their respective sites. So make checklists and assignments and keep these in play until you return to full occupancy. Now, for those of you whose sites remain open to some extent, we need to first consider health and safety aspects. The virus multiplies most rapidly via respiratory spread and also by picking up live virus from surfaces that have been handled by infected persons. It bears repeating that 20 seconds of robust hand washing is the fastest and easiest way that we can protect ourselves and others. We hear a great deal about social distancing. I prefer to call it physical distancing because human beings still need to maintain social interactions. But the distancing must be facilitated and enforced to meet the current spacing guidelines of 6 feet or 2 meters as a minimum. Scientists from the American Society for Microbiology demonstrated that in a 2 to 4 hour period, a virus that is placed on a doorknob or a tabletop in an office could be detected on 40 to 60% of workers, visitors, and other surfaces. And the area that was infected first, the break room. So review spaces where people typically gather, the break rooms, lunch rooms, time clocks, help desk or work assignment areas, tool rooms, control rooms, etc. Change the workspaces to increase spacing. Stagger shift start times. Provide alternatives to the usual way of working to minimize close interactions. Enthusiastically promote hand washing and provide appropriate personal protective equipment. Implement a respiratory mask program. Now, I note the asterisk on my list because there were changes in guidelines from officials in the past few days. I will not comment further, but I will refer you to the sources mentioned earlier: the World Health Organization, the CDC, the health ministries and departments, etc. If you proceed with a mask program, be very familiar with the ratings and labels. The most recent guidelines indicate a non-medical N95 mask as the ideal option. Of course, you must enforce other required personal protective equipment and preventive actions. Consider to construct and install temporary barricades similar to a sneeze guard at stationary interaction spaces like reception and the help desk, and where possible, expand work-from-home opportunities. The cleaning, housekeeping, janitorial staff at our sites are really the first line of defense against COVID-19. These workers deserve our respect, and they deserve the complete personal protective equipment protection. Perform a risk assessment of their duties and ensure that they have the correct gear and they are well trained on how to use the kit properly. As stated in the first webinar, the cleaners may need refresher training on the differences between cleaning and disinfecting. They are not the same. Remember, cleaning removes soil and stains. Sanitizing addresses soil, bacteria, and some viruses. For example, wiping a surface with a bleach mix sanitizes. Effective disinfecting addresses the COVID-19 virus and bacteria. Disinfectants are specific purpose and often require extended wetting, not just wiping. Make sure the relevant supervisor or contractor lead knows and reaffirms the correct actions are being taken using the correct agents. Again, I will refer you to CDC and World Health Organization standards. The disinfectant applications are recommended for the touch points and shared surfaces. Elevator call panels, telephones, door handles, and push pads are basic examples. A detailed review of your site will reveal many more. Vacuuming and dusting should be accomplished outside of occupied hours because of the extended viability of the virus. Even if using one of the HEPA-filtered vacuums, the virus may be distributed in the ultrafine particulate that escapes from the vacuum unit. And it goes without saying, if any employees have confirmed exposure to COVID-19, do not permit them to remain on the job. Send them home immediately and follow up with stringent disinfection procedures. The closures and reductions in operations at our sites has resulted in significant potential effects to contracts. As facility managers, we have a fiscal responsibility to our organizations and a contractual responsibility to our vendors and service providers. It is likely that many sites have closed or implemented changes without appropriately documenting the actions. It is recommended you promptly record all of the changes and confer with your procurement and legal offices to protect your organizations. It is also prudent to check on the financial condition of your critical vendors. If they are in danger of insolvency, alternatives must be identified to prevent your organization from further disruption. I'm not an attorney and I will not offer legal advice, but I do encourage you to gain full understanding of the impacts to the contracts from both perspectives. In some, but not all jurisdictions, pandemic is considered a force majeure. Also, the corporate social responsibility program at your business may also contain statements and commitments that deserve review. I encourage discussions with the appropriate executive office to verify and confirm the actions that would be appropriate. Business continuity plans recognize risks and responses to facilitate order, scalability, and a prioritization of actions to offset the impact of disruptions. The current pandemic is our challenging mountain. So far, many facility managers are like the climber on the right, reacting and struggling to make progress, pressing on to find solutions. The climber on the left depicts the FM who has the complete business continuity plan so he can climb step by step, easier and more consistent progress to the summit. At the beginning of my comments, I mentioned that most organizations did not have a pandemic dedicated plan to activate. I'm quite confident that many more will prepare content as a result of living through the current state of affairs. So my next suggestion to you is to carefully document the lessons learned and incorporate the information into the business continuity plan so you evolve more like the mountain climber that's on the left. My former work colleagues in the Cayman Islands have very strong emergency response and business continuity plans for hurricanes and similar disasters. But they now realize they put too much faith on the disaster impacts being local or regional. Today, they are facing near complete isolation and a need to be self-sufficient. They simply cannot reach out to other island nations or to the United States for support. I strongly encourage you to dedicate time each day to capture the information. Organize a scheme to gather the information and include all relevant persons from within your facility management unit, your suppliers and service providers, and include your internal customers. Document everything. This slide displays some questions you can use to start the lessons learned fact-finding. Other questions? What situations you faced and how you responded with available resources. What would have been the ideal solution? How can you prepare for the next incident? What goods could you obtain and what supplies were in short supply? Who did you identify as backup vendors? How you found innovations and interim solutions. Remember, there are always solutions to be found. If technology fails, we can always revert back to paper and pencil. Learn from the challenges and mistakes and learn from our successes. The information you gather will be beneficial for all of your business continuity incidents. To wrap up the webinar, it's obvious we will continue to face challenges for some time. But with prudent actions, we can reduce some of the threats to people and to the businesses we support. Facility management plays a key role, and we will rise to the challenge. I want to encourage you to consider that this situation affects everyone. I offer highest appreciation to the first responders, the medical professionals, and the caregivers on the front line of this pandemic. They're facing untold difficulties and deserve our respect and indeed our support. If your business has needed supplies that could help alleviate the shortfalls they may be experiencing, I encourage you to donate them for the greater good. It's the right thing to do. Additionally, the economic impact of the pandemic is unlike anything experienced in recent times. If your sites have surplus food that can be donated to pantries, give willingly and generously. Take time to identify other ways that you can contribute to those in need. FM Adviso has a Pandemic Resources button on our webpage. As new information is received and confirmed, the PDF listing of resource websites is updated, on average every 2 to 3 days. For any questions you may have, the contact information for FM Adviso and ProFM is displayed. We look forward to hearing from you. In closing, be safe and keep your physical distances. Make sure to regularly check on the elderly and shut-ins and assist with their shopping and pharmacy needs. Together, we will get through this. Thanks for now.